Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Bella, a K-Commer, joined by Kitty. K-Commer is the leading market intelligence provider in China.
Hello, good to see you here.
For the next 30 minutes, we are going to explore the phosphorus chemicals industry in China. A recorded version of this webinar will be available. We will upload it to YouTube and send you the link. If you have any questions, send it in the chat box anytime, and we will personally email you after the webinar. Alright, let's start.
Today we are so happy to see many old friends and new partners here. Before we start, I would like to take a few minutes to present the latest developments of our companies. As the world battles hard against COVID-19 coronavirus, CCM launched a new platform to help our clients to get the real-time update information about impact of the pandemic at domestic and overseas. Firstly, let's take a look at the COVID-19 global monitoring map. You can see the existing confirmed cases, community confirmed cases, community Q cases, and death toll respectively. Insert the country in the searching bar, or you could move your mouse to select country. You could see the latest data. Next, you could see the trend of the epidemic data. Choose 2 to 4 countries to have a comparison. Here we try to choose Iran, India, Russia, and Italy. Michael Ryan, who is director of the Healthy Emergency Program, said at a regular conference that most parts of the world are still in the first wave of outbreaks, and the increase in cases in some countries can symbolize the second wave or the second peak. What's more, the local news and travel advisory are available. You could explore more after the webinar later. This website mainly shows you the general global trend on the COVID-19. We could also learn from the industrial aspect to see what were the hidden impacts caused by the coronavirus. This is the special platform we built to update the latest information for the industrial development on the COVID-19. This is the policy map gathering the policy issued by each province of China related to the epidemic. Also, you can see our major 3 industries: agriculture, chemical, food and feed, and also the finance and economic market intelligence at this special period. Following is the information of the policy and the influence price and production. How will the price go, and what's the capacity and output affected by the epidemic? You could find the answer here. What's more, the international spotlight and the expert opinion will be provided to you, and you are also welcome to share your insight with us. Okay, without any delay, let's start our topic.
To start with, let's take a quick look at the phosphorus chemical industry chain. Phosphorus chemical industry is vital for national economic development of all countries. Manufacturers produce phosphoric acid and element phosphorus by wet process and thermal process using phosphate ore as raw materials, and then process into chemical fertilizers and industrial fine phosphorus chemical industry products. These figures show the industry chain structure of phosphorus chemical industry. I'm sure our clients here are all the experts in phosphorus industry. Where are you in this industry chains, and what are your major products? Welcome to share with us in the chat box. Giddy, as we know, the phosphate ore is the raw material of phosphorus products. Could you simply introduce the phosphorus ore resources distribution in the world?
Sure. Phosphate ore resources are unevenly distributed worldwide, with the majority of resources located in Morocco and Western Sahara. According to the statistics from the United States Geological Survey, the world's reserve of phosphate ore resource hits 69 billion tons. 15 billion tons are in Morocco and Western Sahara, accounting for around 17%. China's reserve of phosphate ore is 3 billion tons, making up 5% of the total, ranking first in Asia and second in the world. Seeing the possible depletion of the non-renewable resources, phosphate ore, if not managed properly, and ensuing serious crisis in food supply in the near future. Many countries have reduced production for grand sustainable development and environmental protection. The output has fallen every year since 2017.
Here is summarized the main feature of China's phosphate ore. First, large reserves and concentrated distributions. Measured reserves are abundant in China, but most regions rely on phosphate ore from Yunnan, Guizhou, and Sichuan provinces, which also brings a great impact on transportation, raw material supplies of enterprises, and production costs. Second, most phosphate ore resources are of mid and low grade. The average phosphorus pentoxide content of China's phosphate ore is around 20%. The reserves of grade 1 phosphate ore hit 364.8 million tons, just accounting for 11.4% of the national figure and mainly located in Yunnan, Guizhou, and Hubei provinces. Therefore, most phosphate ore resources fail to meet the production needs of phosphoric acid and phosphate fertilizers before beneficiation.
Third, there are more refractory mineral reserves that can be easily perceived. Among domestic measured reserves of phosphate ore, 85% are sedimentary phosphate ore. Meanwhile, 90% of China's phosphate ore is phosphate ore with high magnesium content, whose variable minerals have fine particles and are tightly bound to ground and hard to separate. Thus, China's phosphate ore is one of the most refractory phosphate ore resources in the world. Fourth, deposit mining is difficult. Most of China's phosphate ore deposits have been formed for a long time and are deeply buried with strong effect of lithification. Around 75% of the deposits are of thick and medium thick layer and can be extracted through mining methods for lower angle due to the thin ore body. These characteristics bring technical difficulty to phosphate ore mining and usually cause problems like high loss rates, high dilution rates, and low recovery rate of the resources.
Let's take a look at this chart of output of phosphate ore in China from 2017 to 2019. The output in China in 2017 and 2018 decreased by 40.7% and 21.8% year to year due to exploitation restrictions to protection requirements. In 2019, the output of phosphate ore in China saw a 3.1% year-to-year decline. I have learned that, at present, domestic production capacity of yellow phosphorus mainly lies in provinces rich in hydropower resources and phosphate ore resources, that is, Yunnan, Guizhou, Hubei, and Sichuan provinces.
Yes, as we can see from this chart, specifically, yellow phosphorus capacity in Yunnan province occupies 46% of the national total, and that in Sichuan province account for 23%. Guizhou and Hubei province rank third and fourth, respectively. This table shows the capacity and output of yellow phosphorus in China from 2017 to 2019. China's yellow phosphorus capacity has been on a downward trend since 2017 under the influence of recent years' supply-side structural reforms, stricter environmental protection supervision, and phase-out of backward production capacity. In 2018, production capacity of yellow phosphorus reached 1.31 million tons per year. Yellow phosphorus output attained around 810,000 tons. The average operating rate of the industry was 62%, down by 12.7% year to year. In 2019, the capacity was 19,000 tons per year, less than that in 2018. Besides, due to tightening environmental regulation and pollution control of yellow phosphorus production, the output of yellow phosphorus also decreased by 116,000 tons in 2019, and operating rate of yellow phosphorus only hit 53%.
In the first quarter 2020, China produced 139,500 tons of yellow phosphorus, slipping slightly over the previous year and dropping significantly compared with that in 2018. The output of yellow phosphorus descended mainly because operating rates were low owing to the prolonged spring festivals and the COVID-19 epidemic. The operating rate stayed around 25% from the outbreak of the disease in late January to mid-February, as some manufacturers suspended production. Some enterprises postponed resumption of work due to the spread of COVID-19, which also caused yellow phosphorus output to fall. In June, in January to March, operating rates of yellow phosphorus were at low level compared with that in the past years. Specifically, the overall operating rate of yellow phosphorus was high in January, but in February, when the nation reached the peak of COVID-19 epidemic, the figure dipped to its lowest point, and output in February was only 39,400 tons, a sharp decrease over the previous year. In March, manufacturers restored production gradually, but their output still went down year to year, resulting from environmental protection and suspended production from technical renovation of some producers. The overall operating rate of yellow phosphorus in 2020 scarcely changed over that in 2019. However, operating rates during January and mid-February dropped year to year. In previous years, the overall operating rate of the industry would be at high level, around 60% in June to August.
Let me introduce about China yellow phosphor export situation in 2019 and 2020. At present, China's yellow phosphor is mainly exported in the front of downstream products such as glyphosate and STPP. Like the licensing output, the export fell in recent years. In 2019, the export volume of yellow phosphor in China was 1,328 tons, down 22% year to year, with an average of yellow phosphor with an average export price of 3,246 tons. These products were exported to Japan, Taiwan province of China, the UK, and Burma. The volume they exported to Japan and Taiwan province was 1,039 tons and 211 tons, accounting for 78.2% and 15.9% of the total respectively. China imported 71.55 tons of yellow phosphor in 2019. China's import tariff rate of yellow phosphor hit 30% currently. Large-scale import of yellow phosphor are unpractical considering the tariff rate and transportation costs. China's yellow phosphor is focused to be sold domestically in the next few years, and both imports and exports are likely to remain at low levels. During January to March this year, there is no yellow phosphor import or export due to the global outbreak.
Now, let's review the yellow phosphorus export price in 2019. In 2019, under the tightening environmental regulations on yellow phosphorus production, many enterprises shut down their production lines, leading to short supply of yellow phosphorus. Thus, the average price rose to $2,457 per ton, up 7.6% year to year. Moreover, monthly price peaked in July because comprehensive environmental rectification was carried out in major production areas, which resulted in low operating rate.
2020 has witnessed price fluctuation of yellow phosphor. Yellow phosphor prices not only depend on production costs, but also downstream demands and operating rates of the industry. Since April this year, operating rates of yellow phosphor have been on rise, and thus market suppliers were abundant, decreasing prices of yellow phosphor. Electricity costs are expected to edge down as fall season comes in June. At that time, yellow phosphor prices may be highly correlated with cost. Additionally, few yellow phosphor quotations were seen in Hubei province because of three reasons. First, manufacturers suspend production due to the COVID-19 epidemic. Second, most manufacturers in the province mainly produce yellow phosphor for self-use. Third, production costs remain high. Currently, most of China's yellow phosphor producers are located in regions with abundant phosphate ore reserves, such as Yunnan, Guizhou, and Hubei province. This table shows the capacity and current operation rate of key yellow phosphor producers in China.
Now, let's take a look at the China phosphate fertilizers industry. In 2018, Domestic production capacity of phosphate fertilizers dropped to 23.53 million tons per year, including 880,000 tons per year of idle capacity. Capacity utilization rate of phosphate fertilizer industry was 72.2%. Combining the capacity and application among the phosphate fertilizers, overcapacity of China's phosphate fertilizers industry has existed for a long time. Nevertheless, since 2017, phosphate fertilizer capacity has shown a downward trend due to access and withdrawal mechanisms, capacity replacement scheme, and incentives for merger and acquisitions. With the advancement of supply-side structural reform and high environmental standards, especially the requirement of zero growth of chemical fertilizers in 2016, outdated production facilities were phased out and devices that face continu- 这里没有放 PPT 耶。Now let's take Now let's take a look at the China phosphate fertilizers industry. In 2018, domestic production capacity of phosphate fertilizers dropped to 23.53 million tons per year, including 880,000 tons per year of idle capacity. Capacity utilization rate of phosphate fertilizer industry was 72.2%. Combining the capacity and application amounts of phosphate fertilizers, overcapacity of China's phosphate fertilizers industry has existed for a long time. Nevertheless, since 2017, phosphate fertilizer capacity has shown a downward trend due to access and withdrawal mechanisms, capacity replacement scheme, and incentives for merger and acquisition. With the advancement of supply-side structural reforms and high environmental standards, especially the requirements of zero growth of chemical fertilizers in 2016, outdated production facilities were phased out and devices that face continuous losses were stopped promptly, which became a key part of the solution to excess capacity. Phosphate fertilizer supplies are anticipated to match demands gradually in the future when exports of domestic phosphate fertilizers grow and supply-side structural reforms goes on smoothly. In 2018, China produced 30.28 million tons of phosphate fertilizers, down by 11.8% year-to-year. Fertilizer manufacturers in Hubei province were greatly affected by COVID-19. According to statistics, production capacity of MAP and DAP in Hubei account for 45% and 30% of the national total respectively, with some extent triggered tight supplies of phosphate fertilizers in China in the first quarter 2020.
MAP and DAP are two major types of phosphate fertilizers, which account for more than 85% of the total output. Lots of small phosphate fertilizer producers have been shut down in recent years due to stricter national environmental requirements. Many large phosphate fertilizer manufacturers also need to conduct rectification before restart production, leading production costs of domestic phosphate fertilizer manufacturers to rise. In 2019, the price fell further because of weak downstream demand, as well as a slide in the price of sulfur, an essential material to produce MAP and DAP. Operating rate of MAP in the first quarter 2020 averaged 36%, down by 11% year-to-year. In February, MAP operating rate fell to a new record low in recent years to 29%. In March, the figure grew to around 41% as MAP manufacturers in Hubei province resumed production successfully, but still went down by 7% over the same period last year. MAP operating rates dropped because customers took wait-and-see attitude before the Chinese New Year, and some enterprises suspended production for overhaul. Besides, Enterprise delay resumption of production owing to the disease, and the numbers of enterprises suspending production climb. Consequently, MAP operating rates decline year to year, although enterprise rise production in mid to late March.
Since the beginning of 2020, market price of MAP had remained at high levels and dropped gradually in April. Compound fertilizer enterprises hardly sold their products under weak downstream demands before the holidays. Compound fertilizers manufacturers were not enthusiastic about the stocking up on raw materials. MAP price stayed at around $280 per ton. Under the COVID-19 epidemic, many MAP manufacturers in Hubei province, main producing area of domestic MAP, had suspended production since February, and they also faced restrictions on transportation, leading MAP market supplies to be stagnant. MAP price rose rapidly by over $20 per ton in late February and early March. Enterprises in Hubei province got back to work in late March and logistics in different regions recovered, increasing MAP supplies. Subsequently, price of domestic MAP edged down. In January 2020, export price of domestic DAP reached $310 per ton. Enterprises mainly kept production to supply orders of earlier stage. Dealers were not enthusiastic about purchasing as customers held wait-and-see attitudes before the Spring Festival. Many regions had transportation restrictions after the holiday, and some DAP manufacturers in Hubei province prolonged suspension of production due to epidemic control, resulting into tight supplies in the short term. Products of Yunnan and Guizhou provinces are mainly transported by rail and by sea. In Northeast China, short-distance transportation costs and labor costs edged up by around $6 per ton. In mid-March, as logistics in different regions recovered, the tight supply of conditions eased. Inventories left behind the Spring Festival in ports of Northeast China were consumed rapidly and selling pressures of enterprises reduced. In late April, DAP export price hit around $300 per ton.
Stella, could you please summarize the export situation of MAP and DAP?
Okay, as large phosphate fertilizer supply in the world, China has exported a large quantity of phosphate fertilizers. In 2018, China's export volume of MAP is 2,482,954 tons, and DAP export volume is 7,468,332 tons. In 2019, the export volume of MAP from China was 2,390,897 tons, decreased by 3.7% year-to-year. The export volume of DAP went further down by 30.3% year-to-year.
So let's discuss about the future trend of the fertilizer industry. Firstly, phase out outdated production capacity. As a set and withdrawal mechanism improves and capacity replacement scheme, an incentive for merge and acquisition take effect, outdated capacity will be phased out and overcapacity will be adjusted in the future. Secondary, improve industrial concentration. With the deepening of supply-side struggle reform and normalization of environmental inspection, small capacity will be withdrawn from the market and industrial concentration will improve in the future.
Thirdly, optimized fertilization. China has been actively promoting balanced fertilization and making efforts to adjust fertilization structure to increase use ratio of phosphate potassium fertilizers. At the same time, application amount of phosphate fertilizers, raw materials of compound fertilizers, is likely to rise in the future as compound fertilizer share in China keeps growing. Fourthly, improve R&D capability. Utilization rates of all materials of mid and low grades are at low levels currently. Enterprises should accelerate transformation and upgrading, improve R&D capability so as to develop products with their own special characteristics and increase added value of products. They should also improve transformation efficiency of resources and achieve effective utilization of resources through developing circular economy.
Some of our clients also pay attention to STPP. Let me simply introduce the overall situation of the market. China's production and export of STPP have been ranked at first in the world for many years. China is also the biggest yellow phosphorus production base in the world. Phosphate is the largest application of yellow phosphorus. Although China holds stable position in STPP industry, its production activity have declined in the last few years in midst of decreasing global demand and rising raw material price. Many small manufacturers have to quit the market and industrial concentration rates went up. Due to stricter environmental protection policy, constant export decrease, and shrinking overall capacity, the output of STPP in China has declined continually in 2015 to 2019. The operating rate of Chinese STPP manufacturers ranged between 15% and 16% in this period. Only one new entrant joined STPP industry in the last 5 years.
Overall, from 2015 onwards, China's STPP output peaked in 2016 and then decreased year by year. China's STPP capacity has remained quite high, but more and more producers have adjusted their strategies to focus on domestic markets and other applications fields besides detergents, which might be good options for all Chinese producers. From 2015 to 2019, the annual average export price of STPP experienced the lowest point at around $780 per ton in 2016. It then went up constantly and peaked in 2018. The 2019 price went down again, the reason of which might be the sharp decline of export volume. The output increase was the main reason for price decrease in 2016. After 2016, output of STPP kept decreasing and the price went up again.
Here is our CCM website. We have 13 industrial online database. Here we choose phosphorus industrial. As you can see, here are all our publications, including industrial report, newsletter, market data. Now we choose market data and search STPP in the searching bar. You can see the price, producer, and production information. Let's take a look at the price first. The price here is the export price, and it is updated monthly, and we have monitored STPP since 2009. You can see all the historical data here. As for the producer, these are the major STPP producers in China. We provide their capacity and output information, and this information will be updated annually. This is the resource in our Phosphorus online database. If you have any interest, please leave the message in the chat bar or contact your account manager. We could provide a 7-day free trial for the database and have demo for you.
Let's wrap up here. Thank you very much for attending and we hope you could get some key points out of the presentations. If you have any questions left, please write them down in the chat box. We will gather all of them and answer them detailed to your email as soon as possible.
All the information was enabled by our brain CCM and Chanarity. If you want to find out more, I recommend you to have a look at our website and contact our team for any question and inquiry.
Thanks again and have an awesome day. Please keep safe and be strong.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.